On Monday, my company, CanLife, we go into, for the first time, looking at the actual identifying of the mechanism of action with this molecule we've developed called KLS 13019. And it's something called the sodium-calcium exchanger, which is very much involved with whether we feel pain or not. And the bottom line is, Carrie, that we need to develop standards like the kicker that are accurate and disciplined. You want it to go through the goalpost. In this case, the goalpost is that everybody gets a pretty predictable outcome. And the only way to do that is to have a therapeutic consistency, a reproducible clinical results, which is what we call ethical pharmaceutical standards, what the FDA requires.
So hang on, Nick.
Nick,
this is kind of confusing because it's very technical. You're saying that the properties in the marijuana, not the THC that gets you high, but there are properties in there that could help with head injuries?
Well, I wouldn't call it marijuana. I call it CBD.
Okay.
That's cannabidiol. And what's really important is what that will do is it's going to take out the snake oil companies that are making too many claims that just aren't accurate, and help make sure that people with very significant issues like NFL players like Mike Webster and Junior Seau and Kenny Stabler and the future Kenny Stablers and Junior Seaus of this game, that we have a standard to protect the brain, to make it more resistant. There's also another outcome when you have too many of the normal quality of these CBDs, which is liver damage. So what we're looking at is an ethical pharmaceutical approach that will make sure that we're getting accurate dosage and an accurate outcome.
Nick,
it's still too anecdotal.
I have to ask you, you were at the NFL owners meeting in March, and I know you were talking about this with some of the big wigs in the league. Is that why we're seeing this change? Do you think in the commissioner coming out and saying we want to at least look into this stuff?
You know, I think what's happening is there's just overwhelming evidence that there is smoke where there's fire, that there is something that's helping. And so we don't want to say, don't try this. We're saying that there is a long-term solution that the doctors in the NFL feel is a responsible way to treat players that are going through, as you know, a very violent game. And it's also important for former players, which are almost 100% dealing with everyday pain. We've seen this in movies in the past.
Hey, Nick, would you let, I mean, fundamentally football is still a contact sport. I don't know how they factor that out, and heads are going to get in the middle of the action. You know this better than anyone. Is there a way to make this game safe, and would you let your kids play it?
I would not let my kids play tackle football till 14. I'd let them learn how to tackle properly without having to hit head-to-head and play the other forms that you can play without actually tackling. And then at 14, if that player is absolutely, your son is absolutely passionate about it, helmets are getting better, but they're also, hopefully by that point, my son would have a chance, maybe even my daughter, who knows, we don't want to put limits on them, would have a chance to play the game with an intercellular helmet. That means the neurons in the brain will be far more powerful. KLS 13019 is 50 times more powerful and not toxic, and that's pretty important.
Listen, Nick, thank you. We appreciate you coming on. Nick Lowry, who's just a perennial All-Pro when he played. We appreciate it.
And a Valley resident. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you.
Still ahead on Fox 10 News at 4, the new service that will make things more convenient at Disney.